How's everybody doing today? My name is George and welcome back to the channel. And on today's video what I have for you is how to make shaker style doors. So I had some people ask me, well, how do you make them? And so basically on today's video I'm going to show you step by step how to make it. So I don't know if it's going to be a long video, short video, but whatever the case might be, tune in to the end and please like and subscribe. And here we go. So we're doing this vanity in this house, right? Basically that vanity, the box is staying. They're replacing the countertop, upgrading to a newer one, and the only thing left to do is to make it look kind of newer is make some shaker style doors. So these are the ones that they had before, the old ones. They're a little beat up. They were oak at the beginning and they got painted. So anyway, what we're going to be doing is making shaker style doors. So what I have is a total of 4 doors and 3 door fronts. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So I'm just going to take it step by step and hopefully you guys like the video. And here we go. Follow me. Let's make some doors. Alright guys, so let's do this together. So basically you got your rails, which is your top and bottom. So I'm going to put an R here. And R here, and then you got your stiles, which is your sides, and then the sizes that we're going to be doing, and this can change for whatever size door you're doing. It's not a big deal. So we go from side to side. We got 15 on the bottom, okay, total. And this is we're gonna go reference this. We're gonna go back to this in a little bit. So 15 wide, and then we're at 16. You have 15 inches total on the bottom and 16 on the sides. So your stile, the side of the doors are 16 inches and 16 inches, and then your bottoms are 15 inches and 15 inches. Now, depending on the size of material that you're going to be using, 2.5, 2 1/4, 1.5, then you be doing some math, which I'm going to cut a few pieces and then I'm gonna show them to you. So now let's go back to the miter station and let's cut the wood that we need, and then we're gonna be making all the rails and stiles the actual length. So let's go ahead and do that first. Alright, so we're setting up our jig all ready to cut. I already went and go ahead and cut a little piece of the other wood, the one we're going to be using. So we're going to be using this one right here, 1.5 for the actual doors. I already calibrated my saw, so make sure you guys calibrate your saw to make sure everything's nice and square. So let me show you what I mean. Okay, so if you take your square and put it right there, it should be very square like that. Also very important, whenever you start doing your cuts, this is the factory cut. Do not use this as your end of anything. And I'll show you why, because it's never square. Sometimes you might be lucky and it's square. As you can see here, there's a little gap there. You see that? So there's that gap. Okay, so it's not square. So if you use this side, whenever you're gonna be putting it on your door, so your door's not gonna line up. So always cut it a little bit extra than what you need, especially at the end, at the beginning. I gave it a 16 and a 3/8 or so. So now I'm gonna cut it to 16. All right. So this is the bad side right here. So we're gonna cut it to 16. Now let's check for square again. And voila, there you go. Everything nice and square, both sides. So that's how you know where everything's squared out. So this is very important to calibrate your saw, make sure everything's square, and also do not use the factory edges, because for the most part they're not gonna be square if you're gonna go that route. Alright, so I need to get a bunch of cuts, so I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 of the same. Can I take your order, please? Yes, let me have 8 16-inch cuts coming up. Alright guys, the next thing I'm gonna do is just cut me a couple of pieces of 15-inch. Alright. Alright, let's go check this out real quick. So we got our rails, we got our stiles right here, and then we have our rails, our top and bottom. So now what we're going to be doing is doing a little bit of math. So what you're going to do is take these two together and measure it out, which measures out to 3 inches. They're 1.5 and 1.5, so equals 3 inches altogether. So let's put this aside. You bring your rails, okay? So at 3 inches, I already marked it right there, 3 inches. So now what we're going to be doing is we have 12 inches from here to here. Here's the tricky part where some of us get a little confused. So now we have this tongue groove right here, right? And this is a half inch right here. Some might be a little bit more, some might be a little bit less. But since this is half inch, what it's going to be doing is going to come in through here, and it's going to eat up on the rails only. It's going to eat 1/2 inch. Okay, so you're going to have to add another inch back to this wood right here. So instead of being at 12, now we're going to be at 13. You can see where I already have it at 13 inches. So it should bring me out to this line right here. So it's been cut at 13 inches. This is going to be my rails, my top and bottoms. And then we're going to router this here and this here. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and cut the rest of the wood. That way I can just set up one time and get it done. Alright guys, so welcome back. So as you can see, I already got all my rails and stiles cut. These are all the long ones are my stiles, the ones that go on the sides, and then the shorter ones are the rails, and they already cut the sides. The rails is where it's gonna get, that's where you do all your math. So basically you take away, in this case, 1.5 and 1.5, that's 3 inches. So you minus 3 inches to your rail, and then add 1/2 inch on each side, so it's 1 inch. So this will be, so when it's all said and done, it's 13 inches. So why is it 13? On this doors, it was measuring 15 minus 3 equals 12 plus 1 equals 13. So this is 13, and you kind of repeat the process of whatever size doors you're going to be doing. Alright, so now that we have this, it's time to go to the next station, which is the router station, as you can see right there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the bit, and I'm going to take you all from step 1. So we're going to change the bit to the other one. I'm going to do that one first. Alright, what kind of lift I have here. So this is a Jessam lift, and basically it's a very good lift. You don't have to remove your router whenever you're going to be changing, so just bring it all the way up like that, and then get your tools. If you want to remove this, go ahead, you can do that, so that way you don't break it. Depend on the router that you have, but I do recommend getting you something like this with an adjustable router top. Alright guys, so this is the router bits that we're going to be using. They're made by Yonico, and you can find these at Amazon. I'll put the link down below. So the one we're going to be using, this one is first, is your tongue, and now I'm going to show you how to adjust this whenever you're doing this. Make sure whenever you're doing this, your router is disconnected. Alright. So now that we have this on there, we're going to bring it down. Look how easy that is. So we're going to be doing that. So you bring a piece of scrap of the one that you're using, or you can use your rail or stile. So basically all you want to do is make sure that this right here, feel that's in line with your wood. Okay, so it's a little high, so you're just going to bring it down a little more the other way. If it goes straight on there, that means it's there. It's a little high, so I need to bring it a little lower. So I say right there is pretty on. Let me zoom that in a little bit. Pretty much flush to the bit right there. So once you do that, then you come over here and lock your router if you got this kind of lift. If not, it'll be whatever router you have. Make sure it doesn't move from there. Okay, that looks great, feels good too. Alright, so the next thing to do whenever you're doing this is you want to make sure that you know which side is going to be up. Okay, so you can put an X of the side that you want to be up, so make sure that all four sides are done the same way, the same side, X up or check mark or whatever. If you're in love with your wife like I am, just put a nice big old heart like that. Yes. Anyway, so once you do that, the next thing to do is bring your fence forward. Then I'm gonna bring this in here and put it against that ball bearing right there. See that? See how that's moving? So we're gonna bring our fence forward. So right there, my bearing is touching my metal ruler right here. You can see it's turning. So when that happens, just tighten up your fence, and there you go. So the next thing that we're doing is we're gonna make a test sample. Okay. So make sure you get your a dummy block like this. Just make sure it's square. Okay. So right there is pretty flush. It looks pretty good. As you know, this top side is flush. Alright. But why do we have this little bit of excess piece left over here? Well, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Just take it off, cut it with your knife, sand it out. Should be fine. The one thing that you want to make sure that wherever you got the X, that's going to be your top part. And the reason I say that is because the reason of that X is there is because if you don't put an X and you don't know which side is which, then when it's time to assembly, this side is going to be thicker than this side by just a hair. That little bit is going to make a difference on your finished product at the end. Alright, looks pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and do all my my routing here. Alright, I got all my rails done. So now we're going to jump into the stiles. Alright, so we're going to change the bit. Make sure everything's turned off and disconnected. Alright, I already changed the blade, the bit, I'm sorry. I already changed the bit. So now, as you know, we got the X up right here. So we're going to bring this lower. Alright. And we're going to make sure that is centered to the tongue right here. That's in line with the tongue. So that looks pretty good. So now, whenever you do your grooves, this is going to be pretty much on line with your tongue. So when you put it together, everything lines up. So now the fence is the next thing to do. You repeat the process that we did on the other one. So basically get your straight edge here and make sure that your bearing is touching the fence and the ruler, if that makes sense. In other words, the ruler touched the bearing and the ruler touched the fence at the same time, and it just glides like butter. And then you tighten up your fence. So whenever you tighten up your fence, double check it again. Sometimes it does move it. You see that? You moved it just a hair. So let's loosen up just one side. There we go. Alright, now we're cooking. Alright, let's do some grooves. Let's groove tonight. So the next step to do is do all the inserts. They're going to be two different sizes, so we'll go over that here in just a second. You're asking yourself, well, how do I measure the insert, okay, my panel? So let's figure that one out together. The one thing you want to make sure is you square everything out. Alright, that way everything's good and square. That looks good. Alright, so what size your inside is going to be? For these ones, the inside is 13 inches, okay? So what you're going to add is half an inch on the inside, so your overall is going to be 14 inches, okay? So just put on the door, 14, alright? Now out of the 14 inch, you want to take 16th on each side, and I'll show you how to do that. And the reason why, just to have a little bit of wiggle room inside there. Alright. So, and then on the where the rails are going to be going, so you do the same thing. You got 8 inches plus 1 equals 9. So this is going to be 9 inches. So your insert is going to be 9. Alright. Alright, so we got 14 and 9. Sorry about all the sirens. Hopefully everybody's okay. My son works at the fire department, and every time we hear those sirens, it reminds me of him and also fellow members of his. They're on the fire department and also any kind of law enforcement and so on. So big kudos to you guys are out there every day risking your life for us. Us as we are regular civilians. I guess you can say that. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. This one I have to adjust it a little bit. All right, like that's the original. Oh, sorry. So that's the original that was there. So as you can see, it's touching a little bit. I have to raise it up a little bit so it'll make it it'll clear. Okay. So now this is gonna go like this. So now we have our shaker style. And we have a flush on the back side too. So that way everything looks nice and clean and flush on the back side. So I'm gonna do my other side. Like this one, this doesn't fit in there. Okay. And I already adjusted it. So we're just gonna go real quick and do this side. There you go. You can see the bottom is flush to the bottom of this, and you got your shaker inset right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and do all the panels next. So remember guys, whenever you're doing this, it just takes a little bit of patience and time. Make sure you give yourself enough time to do all of this right here. Alright, so here we have everything, all the panels done. Very nice and very clean. So everything's gonna fit just perfect. Let's put them on. The rails and stiles cut to fit. We got the panel also cut to fit. So let's go ahead and try it out, see how it fits. Alright. There you go. It's very nice. And there you have it. Now all I gotta do now is glue them up, make sure that whenever I'm doing the process and putting it on the clamp, that it's not gonna get out of square. So I gotta make sure that everything's squared whenever I put it together. So that's the next step. Well, here you have it. Shaker style doors are done. So we basically did 4 total doors. So we're just gonna let them dry and then unclamp them, and then do all the sanding and prepping and getting ready for paint. So there you go. Thank you all again for watching. So hopefully you guys liked the video. So let me give you a quick recap. What we did is basically we took this door here and replaced it with this one, but we made this in-house. So anyway, we made the rails and stiles and the panel. So there's 3 things that you got to remember. But thank you all for tuning in and staying to the end of this video. And hopefully you guys like the video, and please like and subscribe. All right, we'll see you all in the next one. Oh, and then I'm gonna have a video about the whole bath that we did, the renovation on this bath. So, and then I'm gonna show you how this looks all painted and put up and all those good things. Thank y'all. See you on the next one.